and this paper is written by Segal and Whiston. Perhaps I could begin by explaining you why I think that it's an important topic. Nowadays, the market regulation and its integration have been of primary importance, and I'm strongly convinced that an approach that takes into account both economical and jurisdictional aspects can be really useful to understand this complex and ongoing scenario. I'm confident that by the end of the presentation you will learn something more. Well, Segal and Whiston in their paper studied the effect on both incumbents and hand-run firm, taking into consideration different circumstances in which their innovation rate is compared. I'd like to start with a brief overview before going on with this order. Well, what is the antitrust? Antitrust it's the set of rules and laws that are provided in order to guarantee the free and fair competition, in the market. But the debates in the recent year has been about how economics can understand exactly can analyze the anti-competitive behavior. So, for example, we can ask something like which kind of rule is better to apply, per se rule or effective as a rule, and what brings the more important effect, something like anti-competitive behaviors or the efficiency. But before going on to the model, it's important to understand what are innovative industries. More specifically, the authors focused on this kind of industry in which innovation is the key. And in this kind of industries, there are continuous change. I put this scheme in order to better understand what is an innovative industry compared with a traditional one. So as you can see, it's a kind of industry in which there is a potential entrant that enters in the market, breaking the competitive situation. So the competitive situation is not stable at all, and the technology is really dynamic. Do you have an idea about what is an example of an innovative industry? No? One example is the industry of hardware and software. And a good example of this is the Microsoft case. In the 90s, Microsoft reached a monopoly. A monopoly power based on its Internet Explorer web browser that was strictly connected with its operating system. Well, there was a civil complaint that accused Microsoft of violation of the first and second articles of the Sherman Act because the government thought that it reached in an unfair way the monopoly on the Macintosh and a quasi-monopoly on Microsoft. Well, but what is exactly the point? The point is that while the USA argues that it was really useful to apply a strictly antitrust policy, on the other hand, Microsoft argued that its power was the result of innovation and competition. Well, you may have noticed that there is a particular trade-off between competition and innovation, and in particular between the situation in which there are anti-competitive activities and efficiency. Segal and Whiston argue that competitive policy that are set in order that protects new entrants have the effect of encouraging innovation, because in this way the initial profit of entrant firm is increasing, but at the same time we are taking into consideration the fact that the entrant firm wants to become, in this case, the new Microsoft. So the option that there will be be there will be anti-competitive, a good anti-competitive policy will also increase their its interest to innovate. Exactly, we can say that maximize the value of incumbency, maximizing the value of competition doesn't mean exactly that it will increase the value of innovation. And this U-shaped function explains, as you can see, this relation. Well, that was all you have to know before going on the basic model. The basic model is, in this paper, is a simple stylized model in which in each period there is just one firm that is incumbent, and there is just one firm that wants to enter in the market, in which way innovating and obtaining a patent that will give them the possibility to become the new incumbent. That's why we are talking about a winner-take-all competition. So we are in an infinite horizon setup and a discrete time. Delta is a discount factor. There are two firms, as I said before, and phi is the value of the research and development rate. The antitrust policy in this case is called alpha. So since the innovation occurs with a probability phi, the expected present discount profit for the two firms, the first one is the incumbent, the second one is the entrant, are shown in this formula. For the first one, we can see that the expected present discount profit for the incumbent is given by the profit of the incumbent when it is monopolistic, so when there is no another firm that wants to enter in the market, plus the discount value of the expected profit, plus the probability given by the difference of profit of an incumbent with a new entrant, so when he has to share its profit, and when he is a monopolistic, and the discount value of the difference between Budi and Budi high. On the other hand, the expected present discount profit of the incumbent is given by the discount value of it and the probability given by the profit of the entrant, and the discount value of the difference on the other hand between BD high and BD minus the cost. Well, this part is called the WU, that is the innovation price. And it means that is the expected discount benefit from becoming a successful innovator. Given W, we can find the optimal innovation level that is given by by maximizing this function. Since it's continuous and not decreasing function, we can apply the first order condition in order to find the exact value of W. This optimal innovation level is, we can draw it, and we will find the so-called innovation supply curve. Considering now the determinants of V, we can rewrite and we will find in the situation what the authors call the innovation benefit curve. And it will be also value not only of alpha but also of phi. Well, to make it clear, let's see the graph. As we saw before, the innovation supply doesn't depend on alpha, but the innovation benefit depends. So, as you can see in the graph, if there will be a shift of alpha and alpha will increase, just the innovation benefit will move. Will move, and the value of the innovation rate increase as well as the value of the innovation price. the fact that these two curves intersect only once is given by the uniqueness of this equilibrium, is given by this formula, okay? And formalizing the protectiveness of alpha, we can differentiating W with respect to alpha, and we will find this equation. Why it's written in this way? Because the authors found that the conclusion was that when the first term, that is the change in the entrance profit in the period when there is an entry, is higher than the discounted value of the change in the value of continuing incumbent, that is the value that the incumbent, the change in the profit of the incumbent when it has itself established as an incumbent, we will find a positive connection between the increase of innovation and the increase of antitrust policy and the increase of innovation. Focusing on a particular case, they took into consideration the possibility for an incumbent firm to realize deterring activities that try to avoid the research and development of the incumbent. In this situation, they say that the tension is absent. Why? It's intuitively. Because, of course, when the incumbent can do this kind of activities, it will, the innovation efforts by the entrants will reduce. But at the same time, as I said before, the entrants has the purpose to become the new incumbent. So it has an higher incentive to innovate and to become it. It's possible also to generalize this model for a multiple potential entrant, so not taking into consideration just one entrant firm, but more than one. Well, from the general law, we can now look at its application, and in particular the hypothesis of the incumbent to realize a long-term exclusive contract. That is a contract that allows him to sell his product, his goods, at a price T plus 1 to a share of consumer beta T plus 1. The particularity is that this contract is valid just for this period. So we are adding some behavior that is called, in our case, D, the incumbent to deter the research and development of potential entrants. In this case, we have to think about different generations J, and the gross value of the good in this generation is given by B plus J times the quality increment. We can think that in this situation the antitrust policies will be alpha, such that it can decide the share of consumers that the long-term exclusive contracts can reach. And this case is lower than 1 minus alpha. So when consumer will decide if to sign or not the contract, only when only when there is an error because the spec again is the last part. Only when the first part is higher than the second one, and it means that there will be a maximum price Q T plus 1 that is equal to K plus 1 minus phi that times delta. So as you can see, it means that if a fee increases, the price will decrease, and it means that the incumbent firm has the possibility to reach a great number of consumers, and in this way to look everyone up, and the incentive to innovate for entrance field will decrease. Rewriting the first part, we can think, we can see that increasing beta will decrease the innovation, as I said before, and rewriting the profit for the free situation, we can see that the profit of the entrant is increasing, while the profit of continuing incumbent is independent of alpha. The formula 4 is the rewrite of the formula of this formula, changing the value that we found. Okay, so we can see that there is no conflict between the two effects, and it's true that restricting the use of exclusive contract encourages innovation. Moving on the effect on welfare, we can say that there are ambiguous effects on aggregate welfare because, for example, incumbents that realize their long-term exclusive contract continue to sell a product made based on old technology to the captive consumer. It's possible to extend this model in other circumstances in which we find that the situation is ambiguous. And before moving to the last slide, to summarize, we have seen then the effect of we have seen the effect of antitrust policies in industry in which innovation is the key, and that there is a trade-off between the incentive for the increment, the decrease of the incentive for research and development, taking into consideration that the firmnet is an entrant as the aim to become the new incumbent. So it would think about its position in the future. To conclude, we can see that, just to be short, we can see that there is a positive connection, even if sometimes it's ambiguous. So, in my opinion, I think that we cannot find a general formula, and it may seem like no one can say anything about which way the overall effect comes out, but it depends on the characteristic of the market, it depends on the number of firms that are in the market, it depends on the particular characteristic of the antitrust policy.
Okay.